Welcome to the UDC Law Fire Chat. My name is Guerline Cede, and I am a 3L at the University of the District of Columbia, David A. Clark School of Law, and I am the SBA Student Alumni Chair. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Delali Dagadu', a UDC Law alumni. Delali, I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Can you please share with us your background and what inspired you to pursue a career in law, specifically in immigration law?
Guerline, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate what UDC is doing, inviting me to this fire chat. You said my name, and I am a 2022 graduate of UDC Law. I am Delali Dagadu', my full name. I am an attorney, immigration attorney and family law attorney here in Washington, D.C. Let's see, my background. That was your question, right? Your other question, background? Okay, you gotta help me out here. My brain is still, but I got it. I
I,
got it.
I can repeat it for you. You want me to repeat it?
Did I get it right? You wanted to know the background.
Yeah, and what inspired you to pursue a career in law, specifically in immigration law?
Specifically immigration. And so my background is very international. I was born in Liberia, and at a very young age, my family moved to the Middle East. Egypt, Syria, Israel area over there. And then we moved to Ghana. For each country, we were there for 4 years. And then we moved to Ghana. I was there for 4 years. And then I came to the United States as an international student, where I remained for the past 20 plus years, 24 years or so. Yes. And so after when I got to Indiana University, that's where I attended undergrad. I was doing financial accounting because that's what I did at my school while I was in Ghana. So I was going to do financial accounting, and I realized that I don't like, just looking at numbers. I was more of an engaging person. I'm always outspoken, always defending people, always having an opinion to put out there. And so I called my father and said, "Look, Daddy, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm changing my major." So I switched my major to pre-law. And, my father was very supportive, but, you know, going back, I was always told as a little kid I was going to be a lawyer because I was always fighting, like always have something to say. I'm always standing up. I'm like, don't say something that doesn't sound right. I'm going to be out there like talking about it, making an argument. And so when in my first year in college, I decided pre-law was where my heart, was. And so I was going to do pre-law. So I did pre-law, and I didn't know I was going to be an immigration attorney until I came to UDC at the end of my last semester at UDC, that I realized that immigration is where I'm going, because that's where that's what came naturally for me. And that's where I was very comfortable at home with. And so that's how I got into immigration law, because of UDC.
Okay, nice. So what made you choose to attend UDC Law?
Oh my gosh, that's a no-brainer. UDC fit my pocket. That's what I've always said. UDC fit my pocket. UDC very affordable. I am undergrad. I went to a Big Ten school, Indiana University in
Oh,
Bloomington, Indiana. Very expensive. As an international student, my father foot the bill.
wow.
So as an immigrant, I'm an immigrant. Also, that's one of the reasons why I went into immigration. It's you IU was very expensive for international student. And so when I at the end of my studies, I found out how much my father had to pay for me to be at IU. I was like, yeah, when I go to law school, I don't want to have a debt. I have no student debt. And so looking for school, being that I could not apply for a FAFSA and all because I wasn't a US citizen at the time, it was very important for me to find a law school that I can afford and find a law school that would make it convenient for me to earn and pay. So UDC was a no-brainer. That was the first reason. The second reason, it was UDC is very welcoming.
Yeah.
I went to a big top stand school. No one know me there. No one, I can, I don't know the professors. I don't know some of the students that I attended school with. the friends that I was able to get from IU are friends that I met outside of classrooms. So, but UDC, very intimate community,
Yeah.
very, very intimate. The professor know who you are, so be careful, be on your best behavior, right?
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
know it. They'll call you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, what have I done now? So
Yeah.
everyone, they know when you're missing from class, they know when you're not in class, people follow up with you. Professors know you. Students know you. You're like, oh yeah, I know her. I've seen you on campus. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know you. Everybody knows everybody. It is very intimate, very, very intimate. And I really appreciate that. And also my first HBCU. Again, I went
Yeah.
to IU. So I felt at home. It was just like learning. It was a new cultural experience for me. It's a beautiful, beautiful relationship created at UDC. And so I'm still really, really close with my classmate, class of 2022. But UDC was a no-brainer financially. It was a no-brainer, building that relationship, building that community, which is very, very important for me.
Yeah.
That's
And
why UDC.
and to piggyback off of that, I'm actually, I'm a current student at UDC Law, and I can, co-sign a lot of what you're saying. It's small, intimate, everyone knows each other. It's like a family, very welcoming. I too went to a state school, I went to Florida State University, huge
Mm-hmm.
school. So it's just so many people. I know another reason why a lot of students decided to UDC Law was because of their clinic program. And so
Mm-hmm.
I know you work with clients in the Immigration and Human Rights Clinic at UDC Law. Can you tell us about your experiences in the clinic, the skills and the insights you gained during your time there, and how they prepared you to own your own practice as an immigration attorney?
Oh my gosh. So I had the opportunity to not, well, I worked in the immigration clinic as an extern, but my
Mm-hmm.
clinic hours were in the family with Professor Gibbs and Professor B. My externship work with the immigration clinic was because at the dean at the time, Dean Lindsay Harris was, she was open. She said, "Well, you should take a look at the immigration clinic," because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it during the fall. I decided to extern, like do an externship. And she said, "Well, you're an immigrant. You're coming from an immigration background. That's something you can look into." I said, "You know what? Let me get the feel of it." So it was an awakening. It was a beautiful experience. It was a great hands on. I actually worked with 5 clients. I did the work as if I was actually a lawyer, just that I had a supervisor, the dean at the time. I enjoyed the experience. It just reaffirmed what, it was behind my head all this time, and I just kept on trying to shut it down. It was loud at this time working in the clinic. I was like, okay, 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 I get it. I'm at home. This is where I need to be. And so with that experience during the clinic, my summer in the immigration clinic, I was able to take that, and it gave me the confidence that I needed to say, I can do this. I can really
Mm,
do it. I
okay.
worked with all these clients during the summer, and I had a supervisor, and I felt at home. It was natural for me. I've done my own immigration work as, pro saving law of my immigration case, case from my personal self. Um, so working with clients, it was at home. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the experience working hands on, doing the things that not yet a lawyer, but doing the lawyering work. It was just so natural. And that was the foundation for me to say, I can go into immigration law because this is where I'm at home when it comes to laws, all the other laws. Because while I was in law school, I was managing a law firm full
Oh,
time. It was an estate planning and tax law firm. So I thought I was going to go into wealth law.
okay.
Well, estate planning and taxes and protecting your wealth and all that. That's what I thought I was going to get into. So everyone knew, oh, Delali is the money lawyer, because everyone knew I was going to go into wealth management. It was like, yeah, that don't talk to Delali for anything else. She's a money lawyer, and I'm like,
Yeah.
So my last after that experience, I said, "Wow, okay, it's a firm. This immigration law is where I need to be because it comes naturally to me. I'm an immigrant, and I see that a lot of immigrants need the representation that they don't have, and I can be one of those people helping with the right representation and fighting on their behalf. So that's how it helped me, and that's where I am today."
So, what would you say life is like now that you own your own private practice working as a immigration attorney? I know you said that it was like an externship and you've managed other firms, but now you own your own firm. So, what has life been like?
A rest for the wicked. No rest. It has been a rewarding journey thus far, going to 2 years now. It has been it has been great. It has been an experience that I would trade for nothing. I have my own creativity. I love my all 46 clients. I enjoyed my space. I enjoyed the networking, but most importantly is that creativity to be able to form that relationship with my clients. The client relationship, the creativity of setting up the practice and setting things up the way you want it to go, and for your clients to fit in, building that relationship with the client, very intimate relationship I have with my client. I love it. I love every part of it. It's not for everyone, but I knew it was for me from day one. Everyone knew I was going to have my own firm. It's just that when I was going to do it was the question. But I'm grateful that I have it. It's a lot of work. Again, no rest for the wicked. It's a lot of work. But if you have the determination to set up something that you want to call your own and showing it's your own and it's also making a difference the way you want to make the difference in the world, then go for it. But it's not for everyone. It's a lot of work. For the first time since I've had my practice last week, I've I I just came back from a 1 week vacation.
Good for you.
And I was able to do that because I have an assistant who I felt comfortable that I can leave the office in her care and I can take a whole week off. Again, it was my birthday week, July. So I'm like, okay, I need to take that time up. So it's very rewarding. It comes with the challenges. It's come with a reward. You got to decide if you're when it's good, it's good. When it gets tough, it gets tough. But you have to learn from the challenges that are thrown to you every day. You like every case is different, and I love it. I'm a
So,
sucker for a lot of work, so I love it.
so let me ask you, how did you transition from law student to I took the bar. Now I'm in that waiting period where I'm waiting to find out if I pass the bar to being admitted in the bar to the bar, excuse me, and then opening your own law practice. Like, would you be able to kind of like quickly walk us through how you're able to do that?
Oh yeah, mindset. I had a goal. I had a focus. It was a mindset. I was in a mindset. I was in a space that mind space long before I even took the bar. So when I took the bar, I had a sense I passed the bar. I already had a sense that I passed the bar. So I'm not even going to focus on, oh, did I pass the bar? I was like, okay, I knew I already passed the bar. Um, I think after taking the bar, July 27th of 2022, I took some time to relax. And after that, I was already preparing to open up my practice because I knew I was at a point I needed to do this and I wasn't going to wait any longer because I've already had experience of working for other people and it didn't go the way I needed to go. So this was the time. So I just started doing the things that I needed to do. I started doing my research. I started setting up shop, doing all the research that I need to do, talking to other folks and say, okay, is this what I really want to do? Before I graduated, I was already talking to people if I wanted to start my own practice right after law school, work for Big Law, work for Made Side, work for nonprofit, just work for other people. So I already did that research before I took the bar. So once I took the bar, I'm now already in the headspace that I was going to open my own practice. So after I took the bar, I started working on the first thing I was working on my website. I built my own website. I started working on doing all the research, putting things together. So that kept me so busy. I was still working full time. That
Okay.
kept me so busy. I was so busy that I didn't even think about the bar. I wasn't getting anxious or sitting, twiddling my thumb waiting for the bar results. I was so busy focusing on how I'm setting up shop. And so once I found out I passed the bar on October 14, 2022, I was already ready. I had everything ready, but I needed to get that license saying that I can hold myself out as an attorney. Once I got that letter on December 12th, 2022, published, I opened shop.
Mm.
But I was already in the mindset. I've been in the mindset a year before. I was saying a lot of people didn't believe me. I was already in a mindset. So that's how I transitioned. Mindset. You have a goal, you have a focus on that. Everything else will happen. The bar was happening, graduation was happening, everything else was happening, waiting for the result was happening. Whether I passed the bar or not, I knew in my heart that I passed the bar. So everything else will happen around me. My focus is like, girl, you better open your own practice, okay? That was my mindset. So that was what helped me to transition through each stage along the way.
Amazing. Another question I have for you here. I know you are a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and you have been a strong advocate for better and humane immigration reform. Can you please explain why this work is so important and share with us what kind of advocacy work you've been doing?
This work is important because immigrants are people too.
Mm-hmm.
Immigrants take out the politics,
Yeah.
they're human beings fleeing atrocities for a better life here. We're all immigrants. I always like to say we're all immigrants. We all came to this country, to this great land, one way or the other. It's very important that people know that with all their burden, with all their troubles, someone can open up an arm and say, welcome. So sometimes that's all they're looking for, you know. Um, that's that's one of the reasons why I got into immigration, because the system is immigration is very complex. Let's just step back a little. It's a very complex field of law. It's constantly moving to the extent that even immigration lawyers are just, there are people getting out of the practice of immigration law because there's so much going on. Adding the politics, adding the laws that, are outdated, and you just trying to keep pace with what's happening. It's constantly evolving. And the people who are caught in between are the immigrants,
Yeah.
you know, and the way they are treated, the way they are talked down to the extent that, people that look like me, immigrants from Africa, immigrants from the Caribbean, immigrants that look like me are so scared to speak up, to identify as immigrants. Or you have the children who don't want to identify as immigrant. You can have the Italian Americans say, "Oh, I'm Italian American, my mom," but you have Black immigrants who are embarrassed, don't even want to show that they are immigrants, because being an immigrant is like a taboo. It's something you don't talk about. It's a shame. You know, I have people that say, "You're from Africa?" "Yeah, I'm from Africa." I was born. It's like, really? You don't have an accent? Come on now. I do have an accent. My accent go over the place. I may not have grown up in Africa, in Liberia, but I always remember where I was born. You know, I always claim that, I'm Liberian American. I take pride in being an immigrant because I see what immigrants have done in this country. I take pride in being an immigrant. But you have a lot of people don't want to say that because of the rap that immigrants get. It's taboo. People are in the shadow. So coming out, someone like me coming out and say, I'm an immigrant. This is how I made it over here. These are the path that I've taken. I feel that it gives immigration or immigrants a positive outlook that is okay to look like me and identify as an immigrant and
Yeah.
not to be ashamed to have an accent. Everybody have an accent.
Yeah.
And I was like, people from down south have an accent. People
Yes,
from
they
the
do.
north has an accent. People from the west, the Midwest have an accent. We all have accents. It's the beauty of diversity. And I want to be able to change that. Part of my advocacy is community outreach. I network with organizations that do immigration clinic, free immigration clinic. We're doing consultation, encouraging people to come out of the shadow to pursue, legal means of staying here. Because some people came like they got wrong information and now they're caught in limbo. They don't know. They are now well informed. So one of my big advocacy I've been doing is information advocacy, if you want to call it literate advocacy when it comes to immigration. Want to inform, doing podcasts, hosting workshop, educating. And, information is power. And so I want to be able to tell people, say, look, if you are in this category, if this is where you are, if this is how you can, there's a relief for you. Don't just go to Instagram or TikTok and see someone saying, not everybody on Instagram are an immigration attorney or attorney to start off with. Talk to an attorney, talk to an immigration attorney, have a one-on-one, have a consultation, get information, and then make a decision on how you want to move forward. But many people just hear what they hear in the community, and then, you have that telephone line, right? Everyone is talking, and then they come to me after the fact when they've damaged their case because they didn't get the right information. I've taken on some pro bono cases because not everyone can afford my fee. Not everyone can afford an attorney. Not even my fee, because my fee is reasonable, right? But not everyone can afford an attorney. And so it's very important that I give back in a way I can give back because I know someone did it for me. So I've taken on like military family. I would do some pro bono work, doing pro bono clinic, spending 5 hours of my time and meeting with like 20 clients, just doing consultation, finding every one of them was misinformed of their immigration status. And these are immigrants that look like me. And so I'm very passionate about information, getting out the right information. People are not coming out to these clinics because they are afraid that they will be arrested by ICE. No, come and get information. So I hope I answer your question. I think don't get me started with immigration because I started going like, hey, you get like, yeah, time out over here, time out.
Yeah. And I honestly, listening to what you're saying, my name is Guerline. My family's originally from Haiti. I'm a first generation individual living in the United States. I'm originally from Florida. And my mother had three older children before she migrated to Florida, and she lost about 10 years with those children. And she talks about a lot of what you're saying, misinformation, just trusting the wrong individuals, just losing a lot of time in her case. So hearing you say this, I'm just like, thank God for Delali to be there to help individuals. I wasn't there, I wasn't born yet, but I wasn't there when, she was initially speaking with the lawyer. I don't know exactly what happened, but I can only imagine with my mother having there being a language barrier, and sometimes people just take advantage, right? So I just wanted to say, if I don't get an opportunity to say that, I personally appreciate the work that you're doing.
Yeah. It's needed. I'm grateful to do what I'm doing because people are suffering
Yeah.
and people are being taken advantage of, and it's breaking my heart every day. And just to give you a really quick example of that, I have a client who he's an immigrant and he was taken advantage of for mortgage fraud, and they were threatening him. So I'm representing him pro bono right now, going after the fraudster in Maryland. So it's not an immigration case. It's a non-immigration case, but I've been able to take in this case. He couldn't sleep. And I said, this is fraud. He went to other lawyers that took his money and said, oh, just relax. I said, no, this is mortgage fraud. They took your 50,000 cash that you've saved up, and now you have no title to the house.
Wow.
They're threatening to evict you without going through the right form. So now we're filing, peace order for them to stop coming. They broke into, they were just threatening him and said they will call ICE on him, but they don't know that he's a U.S. citizen.
Mm.
And they were threatening him with ICE. And they're doing to a lot of immigrants out there who
Mm.
have the money to put a down payment down to buy a house. But guess what? Because they don't have papers, they can come and take that away from them without giving them talk to a lawyer. But
Yeah.
anyway, I digress.
So let me ask you, how do you stay informed about current immigration policies and reforms?
U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, is
Mm.
the first place I go because they are the authority in reference to citizenship and immigration services here in the U.S. If you submitting application, all that. I read the notices, alerts. I'm always informed. I'm on their mailing list, newsletter. Is it newsletter? Yes, newsletter. That's right, newsletter. I constantly inform ALA, the American Immigration Lawyer Association. Always a huge network, and so constantly inform what's happening because they make sure to keep their members informed what's happening in Capitol Hill, what's happening in the State Department. Always reading up. I listen to the news, current events. I listen to what's happening in foreign countries, especially countries where majority of my clients are from. So when a client come to me and say, oh my God, I can't return to my home country. And I say, yeah, because they have a ward. You can apply for asylum because your family is being persecuted. So I stay informed with current events, which is everything around me. As an immigration attorney, you have to be, your ears have to be open to the world at large. What's happening in the Middle East right now? I'm constantly informed because I have clients coming to me say, oh, I'm from the Middle East. I'm from Palestine. I'm from Israel. I can't return. This is happening. This is happening. Okay, or people say I'm from Ukraine. I have a client who's from Ukraine, Russia, persecuted. I said, okay, these are the benefits that are available because I'm keeping update with USCIS when they release information saying that they have temporary protected status, TPS, for people from Venezuela, from people from Cameroon, from people from Ukraine. So that's how I stay informed so my clients can feel safe and protected.
So as we look to the future, what changes or reforms do you most hope to see in immigration law?
Oh, an update to the current law as it is. Making there's a lot. I'm not going to get into politics of immigration law because it doesn't help us. But one of the things that I really would love to see in terms of, again, the feedback here, one of the things that I really love to, everyone is saying comprehensive immigration law, right? Comprehensive immigration reform. We all want to see that. Some of the things that I really love to see is the processing time line, the separation of family members. They say that has stopped, but there are still instances where, that still is an issue. Detention of immigrants. You have people coming to this country that have never encountered law enforcement in their home country, but yet they're in prison like common criminals when they're seeking assistance. And it's detention to the extent that you were treated as if you're a criminal. Granted, they're saying that you come across the border without authorization, you broke the law. I get it, right? I totally get it. Maybe that's where reform needs to start. These are people seeking relief, and they're treated as common criminals when they're not. Let's add some human dignity to the law as we reform them. Immigrants are human beings. Immigrants are people too. They're just coming from different countries. They're crossing the ocean. They're crossing the desert. They're crossing the jungle. That don't make them any less human, right? They may not be U.S. citizen, but first and foremost, they're human beings. So a lot of the laws that are in place right now do not treat immigrants as human. Let's start from there. Give some dignity, humanity, just that, you know, put a human face to it. And so, and one of the things that I've been pushing for, fighting for, or done some work in the past with organization is the 1 year filing deadline. The 1 year filing deadline for asylum seeker. When you come to the United States, within 1 year of entering the United States, you must apply for asylum. A lot of immigrants come, and now it's better because of social media. Back in the days, you have people who've missed that 1 year deadline because they don't know. They don't know. They're not, I mean, you're running for safety. You're not thinking, okay, now I'm going to study the United States immigration law. I mean, some of the people who are coming through in law school, I'm still learning about this whole thing. And you come and you expect someone to know that within 1 year, let's 6 months, and then get the money together to be able to apply for asylum. Come on now. There are people who are coming because they were raped, again, raped. People are coming because they were, I have a client who's have a case for FGM, which is the female genital mutilation, fleeing persecution. She was able to flee her family member who was trying to do this to her, and she finally got over here. I have no idea about the whole 1 year deadline. I have a client who's LGBTQI who don't know she was this close to the 1 year when she came to me. And I said, oh, shoot, you only have 3 weeks. We need to put this in. I had a client who came in religious persecution, had no idea about the 1 year filing deadline, went to a lawyer, the lawyer took his money, never filed a case, took over $3,000 for he never filed a case. When he came to me, and by the time I got his record, 6 days from his 1 year filing deadline. I remember very clearly it was on a Saturday when I got the notification that his information is in. His information file was in, FOIA was in. And I looked at it, I said, because I need to get your background. Looked at it, there was no application for asylum. He told me, oh, my old lawyer applied for the asylum. I said, where's the copy? He showed me the paper copy. And I said, well, I don't see anything. I'm waiting for your file to come. 6 days. 6 days. It was the 3rd. He entered the country April 6th, April 9th. When I got his report, it was April 3rd. April 3rd to April 9th. That's 6 days, right? I remember clearly. I remember I called him on that set. I said, you need to be in my office on Monday because we need to submit this on Monday. And he was just like, you don't have an application. And you don't have any right now. If you don't accept it, you will have to go through a lot of hoops to explain why you didn't file a year ago. So you have 6 days. And we need to file on Monday. And we were able to file on Monday.
And let me ask you just as a follow up: were you able to recoup those funds from that an original attorney who he paid, but he just never filed the paperwork essentially he took his money?
So here, I asked the attorney, I can't go after this. Like, give me his money, right? The client have to follow up. And I encourage and I said, look, this person didn't represent you like the city were going to represent you. You need to go and get your money. Coming to find out the person that he talked to was not an attorney. That person wasn't an attorney. But there are other cases where the person is an attorney, but a lot of immigrants don't want trouble. They'll simply say, that's okay. I say, you have a right to get your money back because they didn't represent you. No, I don't want no trouble because they're afraid if they follow up, they will be deported. You have some attorneys who would threaten them. There's like, I don't want, and I had some clients and I don't want any trouble. I said, have you follow up and gotten your retainer back? I don't want no trouble. There's no trouble. That's okay. I would just let it go. And then they would say a prayer. And I'm like, no, you gotta go after your money. That's wrong. And it's like, and it's just looking at me like, I said, do you understand? And then I say, okay, I can't push. They just gotta let it go. Right? I can do all the pushing in it, but they have to make the decision to go after us. Like, that's wrong. That is so wrong.
Wow.
This is what the
So,
immigrant community is facing.
so what advice would you give to an aspiring law student, like a current or a recent graduate, or someone who's an immigrant themselves that's interested in a career in immigration law?
Internship, 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 internship. Networking, 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 networking. Put the two together. Network, get your internship. No, immigration law is not for everyone. It's not. It's very heavy, just like family law. A lot of people say, oh, I can't get into family law, that divorce and separation of the family. I just can't do it because you've seen it up front, right? Some people have seen it up front, so they don't want to do it. Immigration is not for the faint of heart. It's very heavy, is grueling, it's frustrating because immigration court is not like regular court. It's not an Article 3 court. And for those law students, you go look up Article 3 courts. Immigration courts are not Article 3 courts. So they have totally different rules. For example, the law of evidence really doesn't apply. Hearsay, oh, what hearsay? Bring it in as long as it's fundamentally fair. Bring it in, right? Rules of evidence. A lot of things doesn't apply when it comes to immigration court. If you are interested in pursuing immigration law, I will encourage you, if you never got the opportunity to do the clinic at the law school, I will highly encourage you to talk to those who are currently in the field. Do some internships, summer internship, do some pro bono work with pro bono law firms, not law firm or organization that you can just watch a workshop, you know, read on it, do your research, read cases. Sometimes reading the cases really doesn't help, but you have to be in the trenches to understand because it's really heavy. These are people coming, they have no money, they have nothing. All they have is their hope and determination to cross the border and be here and just hoping that someone will hear their story and present their story in the light that's more favorable to them in order for them to get the relief they need to get in the immigration court. It's a lot of work. It doesn't just take the citation of law, it takes heart. It takes a lot of empathy. It takes you stepping in that person's shoe and say, I understand, because if I was in your shoes, how would this be reflected on me? And I think I can do that because I've been there as an immigrant, going through the system. Even educated over here is still hard, right? So if that's what you want to do your research because it's not for everyone, but have a goal, have a focus. As long as you're determined, if you have a focus and you're determined, you'll go out and get it. You'll make it happen. You'll network and things will just come to you easily. I think that's my big advice. Yeah.
Yes. What would you say is your favorite memory at UDC Law?
Oh, the lectures in class in Vic lecture has contract, for instance, towards the lectures. Like being in the classroom with my classmate now colleagues, just being in the classroom, like arguing the cases, just sometimes adding a sense of humor, just being in that community. Back then we had to be serious, but not serious to the extent that our client's life were hanging on what we see or what we don't see. I mean, you can say the wrong citation or say the wrong thing in class in a safe space, and people looking at us like, really? Did you read a case? Maybe. You can do that in the real world, right? So I
Or
miss.
pass.
Yeah, huh?
Or
What?
say pass.
I
Like
was
when
saying
you
pass.
pass, you
Right.
can't
I
do
was
that.
saying pass. I passed. Then Professor Cole, okay, well, you got one pass. You get like, Cole, no. He's like, well, I wasn't feeling well today. You can't do it. Listening to other people just sharing, like, he's like, really? Is that your argument? Seriously, it doesn't hold water. Did you do the reading? I miss that. That was one of my best memories, just being in the classroom, just hearing different perspective, just going back and forth with your classmate, trying to argue why international shoe, where's the other shoes of international shoes? Like, really? Holding who? A person of service, you haul them in. I'm like, oh my God, I miss all of that interaction. Best memory, interaction with my colleagues and classmates.
Well, thank you so much, Delali, for taking the time to interview with the Fire Chat today. I found this very inspiring. I actually want to go into real estate law, but now I have in the back of my head, hey, maybe you should do some pro bono work um, because I find your work to be very impactful, life changing, and it just
Mhm.
makes kind of go down memory lane with a lot of what you were saying, even being first generation, growing up in the 80s. And, I have this weird name, Guerline, and just how combative people were towards Haitians to where we are now. There's still some ignorance, but for the most part, people have come a long way from when I was coming up. So to see someone there champion and fighting for people and just reminding people that these are human beings and that they still deserve dignity. And I just the work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
My gosh, thank you for doing this, and thank you to see for having programs like these, like just showing throwing the light on things that we do outside of the classroom. I'm so grateful to be able to be here with you and give back in my own little way and inspire other people coming. But I believe if you set your mind to it, you can do it. You can do it. So I believe in everybody have a potential to make a difference. And thank you for the opportunity to share my difference, the difference that I'm making in the community right now. So thank you.
Thank you so much.